Josh Allen is the best quarterback in these playoffs, and the path to the Super Bowl has never been more wide open. Having said all that, the Jags might be the worst possible matchup for Buffalo in the first round. Stevie Johnson, how worried are you about Jacksonville?
You know what? I'm slightly worried, but I won't say I'm worried at all. We got the league leading rusher, so we just got to pound the rock, and hopefully we can get that one victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars this upcoming week.
Yeah, we keep hearing that. No Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, now no Lamar Jackson. Well, it's the easy path. It was written for the Bills, but I would go as far as saying this is the most difficult first-round game in the playoffs that Josh Allen's had.
This is Broken Table. Hein, Chezzy, Stevie Johnson. We're going to talk farewell to Highmark Stadium. Eric Moulds will be joining us a little later in the show. Bills legend. Maybe some other Bills players as well. But we got to start with the playoffs and that Jags game. And to Stevie's point, he's saying pound that rock. Here's the problem. Jacksonville, 85.6 rush yards allowed per game. That is best in the NFL. Jags defense has not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. And we know the Bills go as James Cook goes. But I'm with you, Stevie. You need to try to run the ball against this Jacksonville team. It just might be tough sledding.
Yeah, you definitely have to. You know, that's our best bet, to be honest. You know, utilizing Josh Allen, utilizing James Cook. Heck, utilize Ray Davis. He put up 151 yards, and Ty Johnson, two passing touchdowns. No, I think he had one passing touchdown, and then he ran for one. If I'm not mistaken, whatever he had 2 touchdowns.
Scored twice and got paid.
It's all circulating around the running game. It circulates around the running game, brother. So you got to go for it and utilize that against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's going to be something to see with them not giving up a 100-yard rusher.
Yeah, it's an interesting match because I understand the sentiment of where you guys are going, that you want to run right at them, even though they're the top rush defense. I don't think anybody looks at the Jags run defense and says they're too stout. They're not be able to move.
They don't have the names that make you think great run defense.
Right. They're just good. And I would also add to the run defense, they've also been ahead in a lot of games, which makes teams one-dimensional. It's probably part of them being the number one run defense. So I think the Bills can run at this team. And I look at the matchup in their secondary. They play a bunch of different looks. They blitz a lot. The Jags are the number one defense in NFL when it comes to blitz. Opposing quarterbacks have the lowest rating. So opposing quarterbacks have the lowest rating versus when Jacksonville's blitzing. So Jacksonville's excellent when they blitz. They don't blitz a ton, but when they do, they're excellent. So that you get a bunch of different looks for a Bills. It's not that one-on-one have to win outside, just man coverage. You get some zone looks. They play a lot of zone. They mix it up. So you'll get different looks that I think that the Bills can have some success, but it's going to be a challenge.
For me, this game's all about the tight ends. Jacksonville is not good against the tight ends at all. I got a number here for that. 7th most yards per game to opposing tight ends at 64.4 a game. So that tells me this needs to be, and this is kind of how the Bills have been the last few weeks anyways. Dawson Knox is having a career year. You got to work Dawson Knox. Dalton Kincaid came back yesterday, looked pretty good. Maybe out there a little too long for my liking, but he looked good. He's going to be healthy. I think you need to see some of that 13 personnel. I want all 3 tight ends on the field, because if you can keep those guys in the field and run the ball with it while also disguising what your passing game is going to look like, I think this game is going to be won with those tight ends.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's got to be a mix, a mix of the run game and the pass to the tight ends, like you said, Hein. Not necessarily the passes to the outside and trying to get those guys open. Is heavy downhill with the run, and then once you get that play action ready, then you pop it over the top with Kincaid and Knox, who's actually been doing really well this season. And you said it, like they play. Kincaid played a little bit more than we all wanted to last game. But, it's good to see that the wheels are running and on to Jacksonville. So that should be a good look for us.
Also, to add to your point, Hein, about the 13 personnel, if they are, because the Jags have so much success in their blitz, one thing that 13 personnel will do will take you out of that. It's the reason why they're so good at their blitz is because they give you a bunch of different looks, disguise, and guys get home and get free. Well, when you have 3 tight ends in the game, you can't really disguise because everything's so condensed, and now the gaps are so wide or so much wider. you can't really disguise the blitz as much. So that would take away a lot of stuff that Jacksonville wants to do. It's even more reason that the point of you guys saying, come on, run the ball, for even more reason, I would even expect that.
Well, so just on the run the ball note, taken out yesterday where James Cook only had 2 carries, the Bills are 3-4 when James Cook is held under 100 yards. Now, 3 of those wins, he was contributing in the passing game. He averaged 51.7 receiving yards per game, so he totaled over 100 yards in the wins. But when they've looked their worst and when they've lost is when they cannot get James Cook going. So heading into this Jags game, that worries me a bit. But I think to Stevie's point, it needs to be a team running game. Josh is going to really have to be contributing on the ground with his legs, and you're going to have to work those guys in, especially like Ray Davis looked yesterday, and Ray Davis has some nice little pop. I know they like to bring in Ray Davis and Ty Johnson when it's an obvious passing situation, but if you can get the Jags into, say, like a nickel or a dime look and then run it with either of those guys and Ray Davis can pop one, I think that'll make a big difference.
Yes, and not to mention the special teams. Ray Davis on special teams has unlocked the code for the Bills offense and getting that field position. Considering Prater may be out, we may not have a kicker. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Will we run 2-point conversions all day? Which I'm not mad at. That's what I would do. That's what I do on Madden. That's what I did when I was coaching the high school also. So let's do that. But yeah, I mean, that field position is a big play, and Ray Davis is going to be a major key to helping the Buffalo Bills offense out. And seeing how healthy Josh is to use his legs, or will he sit in the pocket and try to, protect himself and get the ball out as a passing playmaker? We'll see.
Well, to your point, Ray Davis led the NFL in average for kickoff returns. Also, Ray Davis was kicking extra points in the preseason. So if Prater is out, I doubt that's going to happen, but I'm worried about the Prater situation. To your point about Josh, Stevie, last time we saw him, not counting the Jets game, in that Eagles game, he was staying in the pocket. I think the stat was it was the first time in his career that he had yet to make a throw outside of the pocket. So he now has a couple of weeks to heal that foot. You're going to need Josh to be able to move. If Josh can't move, I think they're in a lot of trouble against that Jacksonville defense.
Yes.
There's no question. That's been the Bills. Again, if they could run, different story. If the Bills can run the ball and pound it, and now you have play action, you have success running the ball, Josh's legs are less important. They're always important, but less important. If it's true that this Jags run defense is as good as expected and the run game is not coming as easy, everything on second and third down is going to come off. We know it. We keep talking about it, but it's going to come off Josh extending plays with his legs and getting the ball down the field. That's not a game plan. You don't come into the game and say, "Hey, we're gonna drop
Be
back."
Superman.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be open on 3rd and 8. But you're going to roll left, roll right, and find somebody. But we know that's what's going to happen. And it's not a game plan, but it's reality. And it is a definite vehicle to victory. And I wouldn't be surprised if, that happens all game long. And that's how the Bills win this game. And then go on and play New England next?
Well, it depends. It all depends on what happens, right? Like
if New England beats the Chargers.
Well, there's still a path to the Bills hosting the AFC Championship game, which is your Chargers beating New England and somehow making it there. But
the Chargers aren't beating New England.
I don't think so either. And we'll get to that a little later. But it's still up in the air. It all depends on what happens with everything else. Now, you said off the top that this is perhaps their toughest opening matchup, and I agree with you. But I'm going to bring up one note here, and you guys can both answer this. Here's who the Jags have beat during their 8-game win streak to close out the year. Chargers 11-6, Cardinals 3-14, Titans 3-14, Colts 8-9. That was the game Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. Jets 3-14, Broncos 14-3. Great win at the Broncos. Colts 8-9, Titans 3-14. Are the Jags as good as their record is, or have they been getting fat against an easier schedule?
Hey, you know what? When you put it like that, it kind of make it sound like the New England Patriots, right? They was going crazy on a lot of teams with subpar records. So after hearing that, I just feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars is a talented team, a young team that's gotten over the hump. They figured things out, but I don't think they're there just yet. I feel like the Buffalo Bills are more seasoned and more battle tested than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, that's why I say I'm only a little bit worried, just because the Jacksonville Jaguars shown that they can handle business. But looking at the numbers and things from their playmakers, I just don't see it comparing to the Buffalo Bills playmakers in the hunger that they have, guys.
Our fearless leader, Christopher Hein, is charged for data mining. He is absolutely data mining. He rips off the 4 teams in the last week that they beat, or 5
the
teams.
8 teams.
Okay,
the 8 teams
okay.
over their win streak.
Hey, let me try this for you. If you want to do some data mining, let's do this. Hey, Steve, if I told you in week 3 in September of this year that the 3 weeks in a row, this team beat the Houston Texans, the San Francisco 49ers, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 weeks in a row in September, when these 3 teams were all teams that were the top of the NFL. This Jacksonville team is for real. I'm not gonna let some 2-month sample size that you want to make it spin it to look good take away from the truth.
And that is why the people come to the Broken Table podcast, because you will call me on my and that means, hey, trust me, I looked at the beginning of the schedule. They have some good wins, and especially that Denver win. I love the Jags in that game against Denver, but I also don't think Denver is that good. I think the AFC has so many frauds, and I don't even know if I could say frauds. It's just, this is the most complex playoff picture in the AFC we've seen in years because, as you said, there is no Joe Burrow. There is no Patrick Mahomes. There is no Lamar Jackson. So that leads me to a question then. And you guys, I think, are both perfectly suited to answer this. Going into these playoffs, would you rather have a great or the best quarterback? Or would you have a great team? What's more important? A great quarterback with a weaker team or a great team with a weaker quarterback?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Okay, a great player. We got the great player in Josh. And I mean, are you saying our team isn't that great?
No. Basically, it's like we've been told all our lives that in playoffs, quarterback is the most important thing. And a lot of times, the team with the best quarterback will win. You look at the past Super Bowl champions. All of them, other than maybe Hurts, have a great quarterback.
I would take the bet a really, really good team with an average quarterback.
Why?
Seattle. I will use Seattle for example right now. I still don't trust Sam Darnold. I still don't think that Seattle can win a game trailing against. If they get behind against the Rams by 10 points and it's in the third quarter, I don't think they're coming back behind Sam Darnold's arm.
But you just said you would rather the good team though.
I'd rather the good team.
But that is Seattle's the good team with the not so good quarterback.
But I don't think they will play from ahead.
Okay.
They will have the best defense in the league, and statistically they
by far, yeah,
absolutely dominated the Niners, who've been kicking everyone's butt offensively. I just don't think they'll get behind them. Anyway, I don't trust Sam Darnold, but yeah, so I would take the team.
I think that
you would take the quarterback.
I think your answer shows how complex a question it is, because on one hand you don't trust Sam Darnold, right, but on the other hand you would take the team.
Right.
And for me, I think last year's Super Bowl was
I don't trust the Bills' run defense either.
As you shouldn't. But I remember last year we were in New Orleans. We were on the ride to the hotel. Me, you, Luke, talking about this very thing of the great quarterback, maybe the best ever in Patrick Mahomes, versus this Eagles team, which was pretty much perfect everywhere else. And everybody was torn on, do you want the great quarterback or the great team? For me, because I think Josh Allen, in the AFC, I think Josh Allen is so much better than all of these other quarterbacks, I am taking the great quarterback. However, when you get to the Super Bowl, where the Rams have both a great quarterback and a great team, that is where I get a little worried. Now, when it comes to New England has a guy playing great quarterback and a team playing great. Right. I just worry a little bit about a second-year guy in his first playoff appearance. But Stevie, what about you? Would you rather have the great quarterback with a lesser team or the great team with a lesser quarterback?
Well, I'm honestly with Chezzy. I would love to have a team because it's more balanced. But for stress purposes, you would love to go in with a great quarterback because, the headlines and everything playing up to it is going to be based around that great quarterback and the things that he can do. But I mean, it's been evident, like you said, with the Eagles, although I believe Jalen Hurts is great. He's a great manager. But you go even further back to the Baltimore Ravens when they didn't have a great quarterback, but they had a great somewhat team, and they won a Super Bowl. So it shows that having a great team is better than having a great quarterback. But in this situation, it's so wild. I would definitely rather have Josh Allen in the team that he has to work with going to the playoffs. So it's very tricky. But to answer ultimately, I would love to have a better team. It's more balanced.
That's a great question. I don't know how many teams in this bracket fit that question. First of all, and I'll go to Stevie's comment. I think first of all, Jalen Hurts is not a great quarterback. I love you. Jalen Hurts stinks.
Jalen Hurts played great in 2 Super Bowls,
great
right?
manager. He won Super Bowl.
You can't.
Great.
You said I love that. I love that argument because it's a fair one in sport, and we've talked about it. Is that if you're a champion, and you cannot deny that he has played the best football on the biggest stages
moments,
when it matters most. So that's both
Super Bowls.
Some might say that that's reason enough to be classified as great. You said it. You said Jalen Hurts is great, and the next word you said is a manager. He's a great manager.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, on this list, I think the Eagles are the only one that I think has. But then again, that's the one team I look at and put on that list that says they have a great team, but not a great quarterback. Them and Seattle, and I'll even put Buffalo there to be honest.
Would you put Denver is a great team? I don't trust Bo Nix.
I do.
New England is a good team with a good quarterback. I feel like New England doesn't really qualify for this argument. Jacksonville,
Denver does not qualify for this argument. You think Bo Nix is not a good quarterback?
I don't. But what I've seen from Bo Nix this year, I am not confident with Bo Nix going into a playoff game and winning a game.
He's like Jackson Dart. He's only a couple of years ahead of Jackson Dart, I would say.
You disagree?
I disagree wholeheartedly. I mean, go back to the Green Bay game, the Denver Green Bay. He's come from behind.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has come from behind and won games more than anybody in the NFL this year. Any quarterback in the NFL.
Baker Mayfield done it too. But Baker Mayfield, we want to say he's going to beat us. Like it's the great team that Bo Nix got. You know what I'm saying? Mayfield
agree.
came from behind and done that. He's not in the playoffs no more because his team ain't as good as that defense and Broncos. But I'm not afraid of the Denver Broncos, you know?
I'm with Stevie on that. But from a Bills perspective, last year I know obviously their defense and the pass rush, I would say, is a little better than it was last year, but last year it was great. And that Bills O-line held up fine against Denver.
The Bills' offensive line is never going to be an issue, in my opinion. No. I think the Bills collectively they might have the best group in the league.
It's them or a healthy Philly, I think,
and healthy Detroit too.
So, but when it comes to Jacksonville, then do you think Jacksonville a good to great team with above average quarterback play, or where are you putting Trevor Lawrence in this?
I would say Trevor Lawrence. He's a talented guy. I mean, what was he, number 1 pick overall? So he's got the skills, he's got the lineage, but I would say it's more of a team.
I think the Bills can win the Super Bowl. I will say that right now. I think some may not believe that. I think the Bills can absolutely win the Super Bowl. Josh is that good, and I think I like Sean McDermott. I know he's not the DC, but Sean McDermott is a smart defensive guy.
The defense has been much improved since the bye week.
Yeah, I think he can come up with, and still the number 1 ranked defensive yards per game.
You've chirped it. They are the number 1 pass defense in the NFL.
It is what it is. It's that has some merit to it because it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of it's because of the run defense not being good, but let's give it some credit. I just want to say, these are the teams right here. These teams right here, I think, are all really solid teams with a good quarterback. Okay? And there's a lot of them in the playoffs right now. Jacksonville, New England, Chicago, Green Bay, Denver, and the Rams. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those six teams in the playoffs right now all are pretty damn solid. Their rosters are solid, top to bottom, pretty solid, and they have good quarterbacks. Are pretty much all young except for Stafford. Really, they're all pretty young, but they're young and they have good quarterback play.
So you didn't put the Niners in there?
No, the Niners defense is not good enough.
The
right now.
defense is very bad. Yes,
stinks. Yeah. But the rest of these teams don't have glaring weaknesses.
Yeah. So, but I would say this. I agree with the majority of that list. I think Green Bay 4 weeks ago is not Green Bay today. Sure. And you lose Parsons, the defense has sort of really taken a big dip. Having said that, I am a believer in division inferiority complexes, and I think they're going to go into Chicago, and I think they're going to beat the Bears. And this is the weird thing about one. I think we're seeing how great that quarterback class was, because we saw what Jaden Daniels did last year, and now this year we have Drake May in the playoffs as a 2 seed. We have Caleb Williams and the Bears in these playoffs as a 2 seed, and you have Bo Nix in these playoffs as a 1 seed. So that's a lot of young quarterbacks with not a lot of experience, and that is why I am more
go the other way.
Yeah,
you take the quarterback.
That's why I think I've been told my whole life the most important thing in playoffs is quarterback, and looking at past Super Bowls, that has been the case. If I know Stevie gave the example of the Ravens, Joe Flacco was playing at a level that we have never seen in the playoffs when the Ravens won that Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. So you need quarterback play to be at an all-time high to win, and I think the Bills, because of Josh Allen, can do that.
I agree.
Yeah. And hey, shout out Jacoby Jones, special teams played a big part in that big win. So, hey, we was talking about Ray Davis and how he's been contributing on special teams. Maybe that's an X factor because, like you called out with those quarterbacks, that's pretty impressive. That's good for those young guys that's taking lead right now. But what stops a great quarterback? And that's defensive pressure, something that the Bills are going to be going up against, something that each one of those great quarterbacks will be going up against in their first matchup. So we'll see if they can control that, guys.
Okay, real quick, let's just touch on the other AFC games. And Chezzy, we'll start with you. You said you think Chargers, they're done. Is it just when you've lost your two tackles and those are so important to how you play that you kind of got no shot? Like I think that spread's only 3.5.
That's what it is to me. You've seen it time and time again. And Justin Herbert, for those, it's crazy.
The guy's under siege like crazy.
It's insane that people don't respect this guy as a top quarterback in this league. Justin Herbert is right there at the top of this league. There's only, you wouldn't have here's a hand right here. There's not this many guys that are better than Justin Herbert in the league right now, quarterback. There's no effing chance that there's this many guys better than Justin Herbert. But people just don't want to give him credit because he hasn't won the big game.
But if you watch the Chargers, it's like this guy is under siege.
Yes, and he's still making plays.
Yeah.
He's getting killed. They've had 26 different combinations at offensive line this year. He's on his sixth tackle. The answer to your question, the long-winded answer to your question, is that Chargers have no shot. I think they have no shot.
You laying 3.5?
Yeah, I for sure would take the points. The Chargers it's really, really tough with no protection.
Stevie, what about you in the other game? Are you giving the Steelers any chance after that miracle win last night against Baltimore? You think the Steelers can beat the Texans?
You know what? I'm going to say no. Just to answer straight up, the Texans should put the pressure on Pittsburgh, and I don't think the Steelers will have enough playmakers to compete with that defense. So I'm going to say Houston moves on, and the Steelers are out.
Yeah, I'm still bitter that I just wish.
What line do you see in the Houston game?
Houston game, the Texans are favored by 3.5, total of 39.5.
So it's moved. It was 3 last night. It was 3.
That thing's probably going to be 5 by kickoff.
In some spots it was 2.5. I see 2.5, 128.
Honestly, Pittsburgh's weird though, man.
I had it at 8. I mean,
really on the road?
I did a look ahead line at 8 points, but that's recency bias. I closed my eyes. I didn't look at the lines, and I guessed all the lines, and I guessed Houston at 8, and I saw
on the road laying 8. You had him.
There is no chance. Pittsburgh has no shot to win this game. 0. I take this back with what they had last night. They have no shot. DK Metcalf back.
Yeah,
there's a little bit. That's a little bit more. I probably didn't take that into consideration, but they're definitely. I take them for a touchdown.
Let's take a quick. We're going to get into the NFC, and I want to take one really quick detour off of what we saw last night, where Lamar Jackson looked awesome. It's been an up and down year, and there's a lot of whispers about what's going to happen with Baltimore. I think he's a $70 million cap hit next year. If you're Baltimore, are you entertaining the slightest bit of do we trade Lamar Jackson?
No, I don't think you do it. You keep him. He's a generational talent to where when you have this type of situation, you stick with him. And then the next time this come around, then I believe you do like the shopping. Unless something sweet come around, I think you keep Lamar Jackson and you just build around him, build your offensive coordinators and the players around Lamar Jackson.
But don't you worry a bit that now might be the last chance because the value is just going to drop a little bit? It seems whenever they need him the most, he has been hurt or kind of no-showed in these situations. And I know last year, the game they lost to the Bills, he was awesome. But he had 2 turnovers. He threw a bad pick, had a bad fumble. You're not entertaining any Lamar Jackson trade offer?
I disagree with you wholeheartedly that he was excellent. You said he was excellent last night. I don't think he was good at all last night.
Really?
No, he had flash. He made a couple plays.
Well, I guess there was broken coverages and guys were wide open.
In the fourth quarter, in the second half, he made 2 throws. But other than that, he didn't look like Lamar athletically. Now, we know there's an injury. I would actually argue, you said it might be too late to trade him if you don't hurry up.
I'm saying this is probably the window to do it, and after that, it's gone.
I would argue the window is probably already gone.
Wow.
To get what you want from him, he's carrying a $50 million a year.
Well, the cap hit I think is 70. The cap hit next year is 70.
So it's going to cost you. Whoever takes it is going to cost him a ton, and then you're going to give away a bunch, and that's to get a Lamar that I saw last night that. All these quarterbacks that I just named from Jacksonville, New England, Chicago, maybe not Denver, but the Rams. There's about 8 quarterbacks here that I take that are in the playoffs right now that I would take ahead of Lamar. From what I saw last night, I think you have to see. I think the Ravens have no choice. I think they have to see next year if he's back to the old Lamar. He might still have the old Lamar in him. Might be the MVP next year. But what I saw from him yesterday and the last month and he's been hurt, there's question marks about Lamar. So they can't do anything right now.
So 3 first you're doing it for sure.
3 first that are high. They're high. If a couple of them are high first round picks and there's 3 of them and I get $50 million off my books, I would do it.
Do you worry about the wear and tear on Lamar? Like, do you think that it could be, the best might be gone because of the wear and tear?
I don't think the best is gone because he's shown that he can still make plays. It's just the fact that you want a guy that can sit there and control the offense. You don't want to see them running around like that, considering the injuries that he's had. So that tells me you got to build the type of playmakers around him. Maybe you don't need a lot of linear guys. You need more shifty guys that can ease his mind in the pocket, and go about it that way. But yeah, if that offer was on the table with 2 first rounds or 2 first rounds in a second or whatnot, you definitely got to get that to get that money off your books and to revamp your team going into the future.
Lamar looked good. It's just a year ago, 6 months ago. Lamar looked.
He was first team All-Pro.
He looked healthy, fast. It's definitely not. There's no part of me that thinks that age and his time is up. I just think that he wasn't healthy out there yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's been out for a few weeks, and there was questions floating around. So he needs to come back and show full health before you can move off a guy in that type of transaction, because no one's gonna want him for the right price until they see the old Lamar back.
All right, Derrick Henry was out there too. What about him? Did he do enough?
At one point, I thought he was going to catch James Cook for the rushing title the way he was running in that first quarter in the first half.
Early, yeah.
And they almost kind of went, like in classic John Harbaugh fashion, they went away from Derrick Henry when that seemed to be working like crazy. But let's touch on the NFC. We got Rams, Panthers. Rams as a road favorite are given 10.5. We got Packers, Bears, another road favorite. Packers given 1.5, and then Eagles hosting the Niners, the only home favorite in the NFC. Eagles laying 3.5. Which of those matchups, Chezzy, are you most looking forward to?
Probably the Eagles and the Niners. I mean, it's the playoffs, baby. I love them all. Yeah, I don't want any. I know we have to work these games, so
but it's fun. It's not work. They pay us for the regular season. Yeah, no. Playoffs is free, man. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in that Panthers-Rams game because the Panthers, remember, they beat the Rams in Carolina, right, this season, and now you see the Rams coming back, and I don't believe in the Rams defense at all. So I'm interested in actually seeing that game and seeing if Bryce can handle biz against the LA Rams.
So it sounds like Stevie's laying the 10.5. Yeah, or sorry, taking the 10.5. I'm with you, Chezzy. I'm hyped for that Niners Eagles game. It's just strength versus strength, right? We have an unreal 49ers offense against a really, really great Philly defense. And arguably 2 of the best backs in the NFL kind of going head-to-head with CMC and Saquon. I think the Niners, I liked the Niners a couple weeks ago because I thought they had the path to the 1 seed. Yeah. I think if they can go and beat Philly, then it's going up against those other NFC West teams. I trust them. And I trust Shanahan and I trust Purdy as experienced playoff player and coach. I'm gonna shift this a little bit because I'm curious as to how you guys watch the game. When I said we have to work, I meant that I was going to say that the reason why is I don't want anyone to talk to me during these games. I just want to sit and watch them, but I have to work. Mm-hmm. That's my point. I'm excited for all these games. How will you watch this game? You don't have to be in the studio during the game, depending on what your guys' schedule is. But how would you what's the ideal way to watch a playoff, wild card weekend? What's the ideal place? A non-Bills game for me, I usually watch it the same way, and that's I'm sitting on the couch watching on PVR, so I can kind of rewind and fast forward as I see fit, with my wife sitting beside me, scrolling her phone, not paying attention at all. And that way I can focus on whatever I need to focus on. My kid is asleep. That is how I prefer. Now, if it's a Bills game, I want to be with my guys. I want to be with my group of Bills fans and in a safe place. You're not going to, if the Bills are playing the Chargers and me and you are like, let's get together, not a chance. No, I can't be around another fan base for a Bills game. Wow. I need to secure myself in a safe place. Even a regular season game. Regular season games, yeah. I can't do it, man. Dude, that's real. If they go to the Super Bowl and I have to be in that stadium working as an impartial journalist, man, I don't know how I'm going to function like that. Take your press pass from you, huh? What about you, Stevie?
Yeah, we need to follow you on the camera because that's the best type of clips right there.
Absolutely.
When you know what I'm saying? When you got to report, but you know you locked in on the game, that's the best clips. But for me, like I'm with it all. You know, I'd rather have the opposing team here at the crib, having it loud. You know, I'm watching it all. I'm interested in hearing both sides of the game because I got so much faith in our team that we're going to get the last laugh. You know, when it doesn't happen, it really hurts. But that's the part of the entertainment that we love, though, right?
You're not feeling the green room watches though? I hear from what Luke tells me, like the vibes are high. You got a fun group. Everyone's hanging out, having a time.
We have good groups. From I watch with Takia. And
you get the
Dom
betting side, but you also get the CTV side, right?
I watch with Kara and Luke and the crew over there and Dennis. Yeah, no, we got a good place to watch it. But I like to be on a couch with my snacks and with hearing the game. People are talking over the game and giving you their opinion, and that's nice to have, but I would rather just listen.
When you need to focus and like take notes,
yeah,
it's
like
a little
we're
different,
watching the
right?
game, we're taking notes
exactly.
and things. It's a different viewing experience. I would love to just sit and watch the game and not have to talk about it at times. I love the job, so I love talking about it. But
at the same time, like yesterday, I would have loved to be beside Barham watching that Steelers game yesterday because I've been in the control room with him when the Steelers are playing, and that guy just is. Oh man, it's a roller coaster of emotions that is great to watch.
Dennis is our producer, by the way. Dennis Barham, long time.
One of the smartest, smartest football mind in the building, arguably. Like
he knows a lot. He's been around forever. Smart guy.
What's he like? 20 Super Bowls.
Great producer. Yeah, he's a massive Steelers fan. But what I will always do is I was always place a bet on the Steelers or a prop for the Steelers, something. Because I'm sitting next to him.
Yes.
So I want to have that. Yeah, he cares a lot about it winning. So I just will bet. It's an emotional hedge for me to bet something Steelers. So I'm betting. So
you have a happy Dennis.
Yeah, I don't want to cheer against him.
Always want a happy Dennis. Okay, let's transition to yesterday's goodbye, because honestly, watching that game and like my kid is there watching with me. He's 4 and he's like, Dad, why are people crying in the stands? And I'm like, well, it's the end of that stadium. And for me, I had a lot of great moments in that stadium. Like my first game, 1992 divisional playoffs. It was against Steve DeBerg and the Chiefs, a big Bills win. The next week, it was Bills-Broncos AFC Championship game. I had a chance to go. Instead, I chose Cops Coliseum in Hamilton because I was 8 years old and it was Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, and I wanted to go to wrestling, and that's just where my priorities were at that time.
Fair.
But I've had seasons since that point as an 8-year-old, and I can't even count the number of games I've been to, but that was emotional yesterday, and you saw it in the fans. So many good memories. And Stevie, what is your favorite memory as someone who played so many games in that stadium?
Yeah, there's so many memories on and off the field from around that stadium. But one from on the field is when we beat the New England Patriots. That was the dynasty team. The build up to that game, it was pretty cool because they were calling me out saying I wasn't gonna get any catches, any scores, or be involved, and I hit back with them like, man, y'all run this defense, man, y'all not gonna stop me. I end up getting in the end zone. You know, Drayton Florence ended up getting a pick six, and we dominated that game. And it reminded me of the last game of Highmark era. You know, where all the crowd stayed in the stands, and it was just like that game was over, and the fans were still in the stands, just having a good time, and that was one of my favorites.
What about that fan base? What's kind of the craziest thing you've seen the Mafia do in your time as a Bill?
Oh my, there's so many. I mean, we can talk about when we was locked out, and I ended up sneaking into the stadium to see the jersey unveiling. They spotted me, they chased me all throughout the stadium to get out there. But I'm going to say the craziest thing, now that I've been in California for 10 seasons, my skin is thawed out. I mean, I see fans there with no shirt on in the winter. I don't know how. I still don't know how, but that is the craziest thing to me, because I just went back a few weeks ago and I had on a hoodie, and I had on another turtleneck underneath, and I was still cold. So that's the craziest thing to me, seeing them out there with no shirt and is below zero type degrees or single digits. That's mind blowing. That's a different type of fan base.
Stevie, that Bucks game I was just at, where it was really, really cold, and the same thing, you had shirtless guys, and they're dumping full beers on like a bald head, full body, and it's just insanity.
That fan base for me, I only played there once in my second year. We played there December 15th, 2002. We played Chargers at Bills. But to go there, and as you play, when you're playing there and it's not your home park, you don't really pay attention to what's going on. You're just kind of thinking about your playbook and your other stuff. But to go back there last year as a fan or covering it in media and see the people, the tailgate, the community there on a game day, I mean, that was epic to me. The Raven, it was the Ravens game.
Yeah.
I mean,
what a game that was.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, it's really something you have to see to believe. Just the way that whole area around there, the streets the tailgates goes from block to block to block to block. I mean, it's an absolute. It's amazing to see. I would love to fly over there and see it from the bird's eye view of that. What it's like in that sector is a special place.
It's honestly, man, like there's so many people look at the Mafia and just like the jumping through tables and all that, but like. For me, it's like I've lived different lives as being a Bills fan and going to that stadium. And like when I was in my 20s, it's about boozing and partying, and it's like it's Lossman or Edwards a quarterback. It's not like Stevie can speak to this. It's like the drought was tough, man. And that's what makes this current group so special is that we suffered for like 20 years almost. Right. And then to finally get a guy like Josh, it's just I don't know, it's sad to say goodbye, but hopefully this, you know what, they go out and win the Super Bowl this year, and then they open the new stadium by hanging a banner. But I would say for me, my favorite game, and Stevie, this was I think the year before you joined the team, it was a Monday nighter against the Cowboys. It was Canadian Thanksgiving, 2007. Canadian Thanksgiving means we got there at like 9 a.m. And that's for an 8 o'clock kickoff. Tony Romo threw 5 picks. Nick Folk hit a 52-yarder to beat him. One of the craziest Monday nighters ever, and it was the first Monday nighter in I don't know how long. But yeah, that's my most memorable game, and it was a loss. Although that Ravens playoff game was also special. But let's go to Bills legend right now, Eric Moulds, who joined us earlier today, and let's hear from him on his favorite moments. Okay, the great part about having a co-host like Stevie Johnson is that you can tap into the Stevie Johnson phone book and bring in a Bills legend like Eric Moulds, who's joining the show right now. Eric Moulds, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
So yesterday was an emotional day. We all said goodbye to the Ralph, to Highmark Stadium. So let's just start with, what was your favorite memory of Highmark Stadium or Ralph Wilson Stadium when you played in it?
Oh, man, I have a lot of them. But if I could really think of one, I would probably have to say the time that we were 0-3 and the Jacksonville Jaguars came into town. They were 3-0, and they were beating everybody pretty bad. And I remember Doug Flutie coming to me. He said, "It's coming almost every time I get a chance to pass." And we ended up beating them. I thought I scored my second touchdown that game, but they said I was down on the 1-yard line, and it only left us with 2 seconds on the clock. So we had a play to go to Thurman Thomas to try to run the ball in, but being Doug Flutie, how smart he was, he just took the ball and kelped it and went around the left end and scored a touchdown. We ended up winning that game and went on a 10-game winning streak and ended up in the playoffs.
Man, that's amazing. Even just to hear the names, Doug Flutie, Eric Moulds, Thurman Thomas, all in one game. And then, I mean, just a coincidence that we'll be playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you bring up your favorite memory, and it's a dominant win versus a 3-0 Jacksonville Jaguar team, man. That's beautiful, Hein.
Yeah, I love it. Like it's just there's so many legends who had great moments there, but we couldn't talk about the Ralph without the fans who were in those stands. And I know, Eric, I've been a season ticket holder. I think my first game was the divisional round in '92 against the Chiefs. So I've seen you guys play plenty of times. So Eric, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen Bills Mafia and that fan base do at a home game?
Well, times are different. I think they changed it where they can only come in on, I think, Saturdays and put their RVs and things of that nature now. But back when I was there, and back in Thurman and Bruce days, they could come park the RVs that Monday right after the game if we had a Sunday game. So we would see the fans all week long, and they would get crazy. They would have parties. They would pull the players over and ask them, "Did you want beer?" And I was like, "No, I got practice. I don't think drinking the beer would be appropriate." But our fans are crazy, man. And I've seen them when the team buses come in, lay down in front of the team buses and not let the team bus come in.
Wow.
Bills Mafia is just a different breed.
Wow. Emo, so y'all the reason why they set that rule for Saturdays for the fans now, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because we couldn't get in the game. A lot of times you got the fans coming in that Monday and all week they're partying, and you look up Friday and and Saturday comes and it's hard for us to get to practice, and we got guys coming in late. It's not because they're missing practice, it's because we couldn't get to the stadium.
Wow. High time. Could you imagine
I know,
that right
it's
now?
crazy. And honestly, that era was a little different. Like, I know drought era was tough for me, because for me that was about going to the duty free before the game, picking up a bottle of whiskey and just having a time. But like those late 90s, like mid 90s type teams, and those times it was like there was a positive vibe all the time. It's funny.
Right.
I would say my favorite, everyone's got a favorite game, favorite moment, but one of mine was season opener. And Eric, you were actually in this game. It was after the Music City Miracle, Sunday night season opener against the Titans, where that whole Bills fan base just wanted some sort of vengeance. And you guys won with I think it was a Steve Christie walk-off field goal to win the game. And like, if you remember that game, what do you remember most about that game?
Well, I remember Tennessee saying that I wasn't going to catch a pass. They did a great job for like 3 quarters, and we had about a minute left, and I ended up catching a slant pass in the slot. I first of all, our starting quarterback Rob Johnson got hurt. Then
Alex Van Pelt had to come in, right?
Came in, and then Alex threw me the slant pass in the slot, and I ended up going for 40 yards and putting us in field goal range. And we ended up, it was a close game. I mean, that game was like field goal type games, and it was like punt, field goal type of deal. And I ended up making that big play, and we kicked that field goal to win, and the fans were going nuts.
Yo, big shout out to AVP. I actually got to play while he was coaching them in Buffalo. And just to hear about a team saying, hey, Eric Moulds is not going to get no catch. I mean, that's just more fuel. I remember when it was a DB named Richard Sherman. I didn't have no beef with him at all. I mean, not saying it was something serious, but he before the game said Stevie ain't getting no catch at all. I'm like, why would you even say something like that? And I had to go crazy on him. So
I'll tell you guys this right quick, but Stevie already knows this. I already told him. After I left, he was my favorite receiver to ever play in that uniform. It still is. I thought he was very, very underrated. And your career was sort of like mine. You had your quarterback for a period of time, but me, I'm having 15 quarterbacks, and I used to tell the fans that Stevie was always my favorite receiver because he gave everything, and he was a showman, and he backed his talk up. So that's what I loved about him, and I still do to this day.
It's funny though, too. You guys both have kind of gone viral of late, and I know Stevie, it was the Sherman point you referenced. But Eric, I don't know if you've seen it. It's circulating the last few weeks. People talking about going against you and like, oh, like don't worry, you don't know about the strength of Eric Moulds. You don't know what you're up against. And DBs are like, nah, I'll be fine. And then after one play, be like, Coach, you were right. Eric Moulds, the strongest receiver I've ever played against.
Different.
Yeah, I think me and Stevie's career was a lot similar. I mean, we had to prove to people that we could play. I tell people all the time that even when I was going to Pro Bowls, I would have people say, I don't think he's that good. And then I would put 200 up against their team. And it was like, yeah, he's pretty good. So it's sort of like what Stevie had to deal with. We didn't have the great teams like Josh and those guys are doing right now. And the teams before me with Bruce and Thurman, where they had the core of guys, 20 to 30 guys together that stayed together. So those teams were Super Bowl teams. We were in an era where we were trying to figure it out, get these pieces, that pieces, and those pieces didn't work. So we tried something new. And that was in the era where having 15 different quarterbacks, I had a lot of success with Flutie, then I had a lot of success with Drew Bledsoe. Then I had about 15 different guys sprinkled in there. So it made it tough as a receiver to really go in and just have one, opposed to having one guy all the time.
Well, I still remember that year with it was you and Peerless at Bledsoe quarterback, but you and Peerless Price, I think both had 1,000-yard seasons, and it was like, wow, we finally have an offense like that. And then they traded Peerless, I think, a year later though. But yeah, good times and great production for two guys who didn't have like a Josh Allen type player quarterback.
Yeah, one love to you. One love to you, Emo, man. Much appreciated. And you an icon forever, brother.
I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Okay, so that was Eric Moulds. Thank you to Eric. And Stevie, we had you work in the Rolodex. We also got one of my favorite Bills, former Miami Hurricane as well, Rosco Parish, who if in today's NFL, if Rosco Parish existed in today's NFL, that guy would be dominant.
Like he's nasty.
He's so nasty. Yeah. So let's hear from Rosco on his favorite moment at Highmark Stadium.
What's good, Bills fan? This your boy Rosco Parish here checking in. What was one of my greatest memories in Ralph Wilson Stadium? Of course, the fans, just having to drive down on One Bills Drive and just seeing the fans leading up to the stadium as we driving in. And personally for me, On the field, I have to say a punt return, of course. Against Seattle, week 1. Just having an opportunity to return a punt early in the game and coming out that game very victorious and being able to celebrate with the crowd, jumping in the stands. That was fun.
Okay, thank you to Roscoe. Thank you to Eric Moulds. Stevie, play us out.
Hey, yeah, shout out to them legends and shout out to my co-hosting legends. Hey, Bills Mafia, we gonna need you going into Jacksonville. We're winless, but we gonna need y'all love. So make sure y'all give us a shout out on the socials and continue to represent the Bills Mafia and A Broken Table. This is a Broken Table production. Go Bills for life.